Hey everyone, Wydick here again, this time with a replay on Twisted Meadows. And spawning as the red undead player in the bottom right, we have Fantafiction. And spawning in the top right as the blue night elf, we have Passion. And it looks like the players are well acquainted with each other. And it looks like, it's very strange. It looks like Fanta had quit Warcraft 3, but is now back for some more action. And I will be referring the players to the players as the red undead and the blue night elf player from this point forward. Now, this replay was recommended as a high-level replay, so I hope that people's voting does not lead me astray. It looks like Imba Wisp. I don't think that is the case. And very interesting from the Blue Night Elf player, we're going to be seeing the Keeper of the Grove coming out as the first hero. The Altar of Darkness is not created yet, of course, as the Undead player needs to get some ghouls out before the altar. So generally, the Keeper of the Grove is a good harassing hero, but I haven't seen the Keeper of the Grove in a very long time, so this is interesting. That we are going to be seeing a Keeper of the Grove. Possibly you might see Entangle coming out, possibly catching some Acolytes or maybe some Ghouls, and then finishing off those units with a ranged attack from that Keeper of the Grove. Now, we are going to be seeing a Hunter's Hall as well as an Ancient of War, and the placement of the building is going to prevent any undead heroes from getting in here. And yes, the Keeper of the Grove has been sighted, and he is moving his way south very quickly here. Now, if he wants to creep, he can use the Force of Nature, the treants, but it's not very good generally. And it looks like the Keeper of the Grove has almost reached the Undead's base. The Undead is too weak. I'm not sure why he's playing Undead then, as a couple scouting whips have been put at the north side of the map as well as the middle. And yes, we are going to see the Acolyte get entangled right away. The ghouls are coming in here right away. A Death Coil is going to save that Acolyte. So it looks like this harass is not going to work at the early beginning. And even taking away that Acolyte is not going to help that much, as there are already 5 Acolytes at that gold mine. And it looks like the Blue Night Elf player is saying he doesn't have the Demon Hunter, so the Undead player should win. It might be accurate, but not entirely. Keeper of the Grove invincible. I don't think that is the case, as the Keeper of the Grove is going to come in again. Now, you do have to remember, when you entangle an Acolyte, even if they're at that gold mine, they cannot mine. And that Acolyte may go down to 37 life. No, the Keeper of the Grove is going to be entangled, encircled completely, and now a Scroll of Town Portal will be used. So a very unsuccessful harass attempt, as all the Acolytes are still alive. And this is going to put the Night Elf player behind by quite a bit.
Research finished.
Now we are going to be seeing a fast Tree of Life, very interesting, at the north side of the map, possibly to entangle this gold mine, but the creeps are still here. And with this Keeper of the Grove not really creeping, as both players have no experience up to this point, it's going to be, I don't know where that Tree of Life is going to go for the near foreseeable future. Now, the Keeper of the Grove is looking around for that Undead army, seeing if they can harass something, but it looks like the ghouls have targeted this Rock Golem creep encampment. And a boulder has been tossed at that Death Knight. The Death Knight is death coiling the ghouls to keep them alive, so it looks like the Keeper of the Grove is unable to do any more harassment, and even his initial harassment wasn't that successful. Now, we do have 2 Ancients of War, and so we should be seeing a lot of Huntresses coming out, as the supply for the Blue Night Elf is at 28 over 30 and 26 over 30 for the Undead player. And the Forest Road Trappers will finally fall, but the Death Knight has been able to get to level 2, so he does have Death Coil and Unholy Aura, and that does help the army quite a bit. At the same time, the Keeper of the Grove is still at level 1, and now is trying to lure this Ogre Warrior creep camp closer. So this is very interesting. Trying to split up that creep camp. Pretty normal strategy. Are we going to see an entangle here as a skeletal warrior is knocking away at that Ancient of War? That Ancient of War is going to fall. Another skeleton warrior is actually hiding around the creeps. And are they going to activate the Null Wardens? Yes, they are. So those skeleton warriors will fall. As that Keeper of the Grove is still stuck on level 1, and he hasn't gained any experience since the beginning of the game. The Tree of Life has just finished constructing, but what is that Tree of Life going to be able to do? I don't think he's going to be able to do that much as he uproots himself and maybe moving over to that gold mine, yes, very slowly. At the same time, that Keeper of the Grove is still at level 1 and not able to do that much. Now, the level 2 Death Knight is moving around the map with some ghouls as well as a Fiend. And we do have a Lich coming from that Altar of Darkness as well, able to clean out this small green creep camp. And that's going to give a little bit of experience to the Death Knight. Not that much, but better than nothing. And it looks like finally we are going to have the Ogre Warriors pulled away to that Tree of Life. The Tree of Life has already munched down a tree, so the Tree of Life will be regenerating life over time. And the Ogre Warriors will, at least the first one, will get taken down. No, it is going to run away. Yes, it will get taken down. Manual health is dropped. That is a nice item for that Keeper of the Grove, as the Keeper of the Grove doesn't have that much health. And it looks like the red Undead player will be creeping as well, as the blue Night Elf player will be moving ahead, taking down the second Ogre Warrior. Still hasn't picked up that Manual of Health. Very interesting. That Ogre Magi will get targeted down and will fall. The Keeper of the Grove getting to level 2 and now getting that Manual of Health. And with that Pendant of Energy, that Keeper of the Grove is going to have quite a bit of mana, actually. Now, the build order of this game is quite strange, as we do have a Slaughterhouse coming out, as well as that Lich has finally reached the destination. And with that level 3 Death Knight, I think we're going to have level 2 Death Coil, so it'll be very difficult to kill all these Fiends and Undead units from the perspective of the Night Elf player. As more and more Huntresses are being constructed, it's very interesting. I don't see any Ancients of Lore, just mass Huntresses. And Huntresses are, their armor type is not that great because they are unarmored. And so they don't take extra damage from melee units, but they do take extra damage from piercing attacks such as Fiends. So it is a little bit interesting in that regard. Tome of Agility +2 is being dropped, as well as a Flute of Accuracy. This is quite a useful item for the Keeper of the Grove, because the Huntresses do get that plus 10% bonus damage. So that is quite substantial. A very nice pickup by the Keeper of the Grove, getting to level 3 finally. So level 3 Keeper of the Grove versus a level 3 Death Knight and a level 1 Lich. And both players are on their way to powering up. Now, it looks like the Huntresses are in the middle of the map. Getting a Frost Nova is one of the Huntresses, and it looks like it will get focused down. Death Knight doesn't focus it down, but is able to kill it anyways. A couple dispels have been placed, so the Skeleton Warriors will not exist, and Entangle is going to catch one of the Crypt Fiends in the middle, and now will be focused down on another Death Coil. Will save it, but it will not save it long term, as it does fall anyways. The Huntresses are just munching down on those Crypt Fiends. Like I said, even though the Huntresses do take extra damage, they also deal extra damage to those Crypt Fiends. And the Ghouls are charging forward, able to do some damage, but they are no match for the Huntresses. The Huntresses have significantly more life. They also do significantly more damage, especially with that hilarious Flute of Accuracy. We do have Skeleton Warriors joining the fray, and the Keeper of the Grove is now being targeted. Death Knight does change the focus of his attacks. But it looks like this Crypt Fiend will fall as well. No, it will be saved by a Death Coil, but only temporarily, as it will be focused down on once again, and it will fall. We still have one Crypt Fiend here, as well as 2 Obsidian statues healing up quite consistently. And it looks like one more Huntress will fall here, so both players are losing a substantial amount of units. Both the Dead Knight and the Keeper of the Grove are almost at level 4. And it looks like the Huntress army has been dissipated quite a bit, and they will now be falling back. The hilarious Flute of Accuracy has been sold by the Keeper of the Grove for 200 gold. And it looks like more Huntresses will be coming out of that both Ancients of War, excuse me.
Goddess, light my path.
So it doesn't look like we're going to be seeing higher tech units from either player for a while. As just Fiends and Ghouls versus Huntresses. So very interesting playstyle by both players. Now, what the Blue Night Elf player does have is he does have the expansion up and running, so he can afford to lose a few more units, but that doesn't mean you want to, because that does give a lot of experience to the heroes, and it looks like the Death Knight will get the level 4 off this Ogre Warrior. No, not yet. Probably should get it off this Ogre Magi then. We'll get to level 4, but the Huntresses are coming in the back. The back Crypt Fiend will go down immediately. Actually, I think it was sacrificed to the Lich for more mana. So very interesting play, as no experience is gained by Cenarius. So it looks like this Keeper of the Grove will get the level 4 soon, as this Crypt Fiend will go. No, it will be saved by a Death Coil. Once again, great micro by the Death Knight. Unfortunately, the Crypt Fiend will fall. Finally, allowing the Keeper of the Grove to get to level 4, as the Undead player is going to teleport away back to his base. And I don't think that the Undead player knows about the expansion here, and it looks like we're going to be getting a third Ancient of War. This is interesting. I can't remember the last game where I would see so many Ancients of War. Generally, Night Elf players don't want to just focus on Huntresses, but it seems to be working. Great move by the Keeper of the Grove, just putting down that Pendant of Energy, getting some extra mana, and then picking that Pendant of Energy back up. And those are the small things that really, really professional and really good players do, getting that extra mana boost, as the Moonmouths do heal based on a, well, not on a percentage, but dropping that Pendant of Energy is more efficient before picking up that Moonwell. So it looks like the red Undead player is going to be hanging out in the back of his base for a while, waiting for, I'm not sure what he's waiting for, until his army is ready to go out. Now, the Night Elf is at 50 over 60, and the Undead is at 43 over 60, so the army supply is going to be in favor of our Night Elf player. Now, remember, 5 of those are going to be wisps, as the first Huntress does fall immediately, but it looks like one Fiend will fall in to counteract that, and now the second Fiend is being targeted down. It will be Death Coil to be saved. We have 2 Obsidian statues, 1 giving mana, 1 giving life. The Lich is going to get to level 3. And there's still just 1 hero for the Night Elf player. And it looks like we are going to see some Treants here. Focusing down on those Skeleton Warriors. So it looks like summon units on summon units. Another Crypt Fiend is going to be entangled. It will be sacrificed to that Lich, so no experience for the Night Elf player. But you're still losing those Crypt Fiends, and that is not very good for our Undead player, as the supply has slipped to 34 over 60. While the Night Elf player is at 46 over 60, so quite a substantial lead for our Night Elf player. And I think this is also the first time in a long time I've seen upgrades for the Huntress, both attacks and and armor. And it looks like we will be finally seeing some archers joining. Very interesting, just low tech, and it's working out for our Night Elf player, and now he will be creeping out a little bit more. Now he has to be very careful here. He has reached low upkeep. At the same time, the Undead player is going to rush in here, maybe possibly for a creep jack, or at least some additional damage. Now a Scourge Bone Chives has been dropped, and one of those Huntresses will fall, and now the Death Knight will be able to get those Scourge Bone Chives. Not that effective, but it can be sold for 200 gold. As he really doesn't have any melee units in his army other than the Death Knight himself. So that little back attack while the Night Elf player was creeping is going to be a little bit of a boon for our red Undead player, as but unfortunately he is still down by 12 supply, and he still doesn't know about the Night Elf's second base. But he does have 2 heroes, and 2 heroes can be a really big advantage over 1 hero, obviously. And he might be able to get to level 5 with that Death Knight from this creep camp. Or maybe not. No, he won't be able to get to level 5 off this creep camp, but he will be very close. At the same time, the Night Elf player is going to be counterattacking the main base, focusing down on that slaughterhouse. And the Huntresses do have upgraded attack and as well as armor. And those glaives are actually doing some additional damage to the altar. But it looks like with that Scroll of Temporal being activated, the Huntresses will be running away, going back to the main base to recoup. Now, will one of the Huntresses fall as Frost Nova has taken its toll? Yes, one Huntress will fall, giving additional experience as the Death Knight and Lich are about to level up. The Keeper of the Grove, interestingly enough, is actually behind in experience compared to the Death Knight, even though he is only by himself. So this is very interesting, and I don't see a second here. Yes, we do. We see a Demon Hunter, but he's actually stuck. The placement of the buildings is too good, and now this Ancient of Lore is going to take a brunt of that damage. The Ancient Protector is throwing rocks at that Death Knight, but that Ancient of Lore is not going to survive at this rate. The Wisp is going to be able to dispel a lot of those Skeletal Warriors. One of the Huntresses immediately goes down from a combination of Frost Nova and Crypt Fiend attack. The second one is being focused down on as well. Will it survive? Death Coil is going to save that Crypt Fiend at least temporarily. One of the Huntresses do fall once again. Death Knight gets to level 5. Lich gets to level 4. A mana burn from the level 1 Demon Hunter placed on that Death Knight. And the Fiends are going to fall here as another one does fall. And it looks like it may be time for our Undead player to escape. Yes, he will be escaping for the time being. The Obsidian Statues are taking a beating. That Lich is now being focus fired on as he is the only one in the back. He was entangled for a slight amount of time. Destroyers are picking away at those Huntresses, but the Archers and Dryads are going to do significant damage to the Destroyers. One Destroyer will go down, but the Demon Hunter is slain at level 1. I guess the only advantage of losing that Hunter so early is it's very, very easy to resurrect that hero. And another Fiend is going to fall, giving that Keeper of the Grove level 5 as well as a Destroyer. So the entire army has been mutilated in regards to our red Undead player, and now he's going to have to move back here. He is being entangled once again for his Lich, and now he's being focus fired on by the Dryads, by the Huntresses, by the Archers. He will get Death Coiled, but the Keeper of the Grove is in hot pursuit and now to entangle on that Death Knight. He cannot Death Coil himself. He's down to 200 life. But with Unholy Aura, he should be able to get away. Yes, he's going to be able to escape away at the last moment. Now, the Lich has been left alone here, entangled once again. And the Keeper of the Grove is going to try and actually block the movement of this Lich. Now, unfortunately, he doesn't have enough units to actually do that. But he is actually pathing the Lich. Great micro by our Night Elf player, able to get that Lich down to 260 hit points. But he's very close to that Blight. And he is actually going to get healed up to about 560 hit points, so that Lich will not go down. At the same time, while all that was going on, our red Undead player has been able to get this mine, which is very interesting, because it's a long route around to protect this base. And he only has 4 Acolytes here. This is a very interesting decision by our Undead player. Now, he does have 66 supply, or excuse me, 48 supply, while our Night Elf player has 68. So our Night Elf player still has a huge advantage in regards to army size. I guess the only advantage for our Undead player is he has the hero level advantage, as he has a level 5 Death Knight and a level 4 Lich. Now, the Death Knight is at half life. And so if there is another encounter here, you know, a mana burn and then a couple quick attacks as well as an entangle could spell doom for our Death Knight. So he has to be very careful here. The first Huntress will fall immediately. It looks like Frost Nova and Death Coil combined is going to be able to wreck that Demon Hunter, and he will go down immediately. Now, only with that level 5 Keeper of the Grove there, he is at -5 armor, so he does take additional damage. That Destroyer is going to be able to get away for the time being. But there's so many Archers here. This army is huge, as there are no more Huntresses, and it would be really nice for our Undead player to get some Ghouls. But the Archers, they do a lot of damage, even though they're not that strong, and there's just so many of them. So one of the Fiends will fall. The second one is entangled and is getting focus fired by all the Night Elf units, and it will fall as well. And it looks like that Destroyer has been picked from above the trees, and now we see the Treants called from the forest to join the attack. The Crypt Fiends don't have a lot of area to run to, and it looks like this Crypt Fiend will fall as well. Both players are getting low on supply, 51 to 44, but it looks like it may be time for the Keeper of the Grove to teleport away, getting to level 6, so he can use Tranquility, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing here, as he's going to be healing up the few units that made it back to his base from that Scroll of Town portal. But both players are basically evenly matched, 49 to 48 supply in favor of our Night Elf player. But remember, the Death Knight is also at level 6, and we've also got a level 5 Death Knight, and only a level 1 Demon Hunter. So I think a level 3 Frost Nova can really turn the tides on this game, as well as level 3 Death Coil. I assume that actually we have level 3 Unholy Aura, so I don't know if the Death Knight got Mass Resurrect or not. Or Mass Animate Dead, excuse me. Or whether or not he got level 3 Unholy Aura and level 3 Death Coil. With the Abominations joining that army, the Abominations are very strong against archers, so it looks like it is going to be a tech switch back to Huntresses. Very interesting play by our Night Elf player. The Demon Hunter is still at level 1. He's trying to rush over there and pick up a few items. Scourge Bone Chimes does benefit him, but not much else. And he will get a Frost Nova right away and down to 73 life. And that is the difficulty of having that secondary hero. If you can't get him leveled up quickly, they just die so quickly. And they take up 5 supply and they can't really do that much. Obviously, a level 1 Demon Hunter is still better than a Huntress, for example. But it's not exactly a very good comparison. The Ancient War will get focused down. It will not survive. It will go down immediately, giving a bit of experience to our Undead player. Undead player is going for the kill here, I think. I think this is going to be the last battle of the game. The Abomination is in the middle of everything. Mana burning that Lich, but the Lich still has 270 mana, doing a lot of damage. Huntresses are focusing on those Fiends. Once again, Death Coil is going to save that first Fiend, and a Staff Preservation will save that Demon Hunter, at least for the time being. One Huntress does fall, so does the second. Now all we have are Dryads. The Abomination does not take extra damage from those Dryads. And that Death Knight is very strong with almost 1100 life. It is taking a lot of damage, but it is not going down. The second Ancient of War is going to fall as well. We also have 2 Destroyers in the air, and they are not going down. The Dryads are falling back as well as Keeper Grove. The Demon Hunter does get the level 2 though, but I don't think this is going to be enough. We do see our first bear coming out, Druid of the Claw. The Wisps have been rushing out to repair that Ancient of Lore. The Ancient of Lore will be saved for the time being. That Death Knight is at very low mana, but the Dryads are dying very quickly here. And that Demon Hunter is taking a lot of damage. Frost Nova is going to be able to, no, it is going to be teleported away to safety once again. But I think the Night Elf player is really, really hurting right now, as he is down by 15 supply. And that Ancient of Lore is taking a brunt of that damage. And now we have 2 Abominations on the field as well. They're just so tanky and have so much life. And that Ancient of Lore is not going to survive. It will go down. The Bear and Dryads are trying to rush in here to help. At the same time, the Undead player actually has a 3rd base up and running as he slays the Druid of the Claw. And the Keeper of the Grove and the Demon Hunter are fighting valiantly as much as they can, but I think the supply is just too... there's just too much of a gap between the 2 players. I think this is going to be the end. A Frost Nova is going to be able to be placed on that Demon Hunter. And now the Tree of Eternity has been called forth to try and protect this area, but it's not going to be enough. A little too late. And that Keeper of the Grove will fall, giving that Death Knight level 7. And it looks like victory will be awarded to our Undead player. Just really aggressive. Just really interesting on why the Night Elf player chose the Keeper of the Grove first. And if you're asking why I'm calling them the Night Elf and the Undead player, it's because I can't remember who is Fantafiction and who is Passion. But anyways, great game by both players. I hope you found it entertaining, and I hope to see you guys next time.